Welcome to Relationships 101. This is a program of the School of Relationships where we are discussing some of the biblical foundations, keys, and tips about relationships.
You are not supposed to exercise authority if you are not under authority. Successful family experiences.
My name is Dexter Davis, and I have with me this afternoon, I have the pleasure of being here with Pastor Douglas Gibson. Pastor Dougie, how are you doing today?
Yeah, I'm doing really fine, and I'm very happy for this opportunity to have this discussion with you.
Praise God. All right. Well, Pastor Dougie is one of the well-known men around the country and this Caribbean region. Pastor Dougie, of course, is the founder of the Christian Solidarity Movement. That is one of the premier movements for young, and not just young, but Christians in general. It's a movement of networking. It's a movement of really getting people going in the things of God. He's led significant moves as far as launching the School of Prayer and what we are talking about today, the School of Relationships. So we're here to talk about relationships. So again, Pastor Dougie, great to be with you.
Amen.
And as we are on this topic, one of the things that we want to start off by looking at is we want to start off by looking at what is the current state of relationships today. You know, when we look at our society in general, one of the things that we see is a lot of negativity, a lot of destruction. We see violence against women, domestic violence. We see things like family breakup. So from that relationship perspective, Pastor Dougie, what sort of role or responsibility does relationships have in what we're seeing in society today?
Well, I think that question is really self-explanatory in a sense, because as you know, life is really made up of relationships. We actually came into the world through another human being, so we came into a relationship, we came into a family. And then as we grow, we meet people from day to day over the years that we would live, and we develop more relationships at every different level. So in a true sense, what's going on in our society today is really a reflection of the quality of relationships that is existent in the society. In other words, then, the state of our society today is really the product of the relationships in the society. That's how I would put it, you know. And you know, I would say that this is not only limited to the family, Dexter. This goes so far as to include nations fighting against nations, wars and rumors of wars. And that too is a reflection of the quality of relationships that we have between nations to nation. And I would say the same factors that contribute to abuse in a family, if you examine national relationships very carefully, you'll notice that are the same factors that really leads to nations fighting war against one another. So it is very evident in the society, and what we are seeing today and what society is producing is really the product of the quality of relationships that we are enjoying in the society. That's how I would look at that right now, that the society is really paying a price for the kind of relationship that we have been fostering.
Yeah, and that's so critical, because even as you said it, the family is sort of the smallest unit of society. It's the smallest unit of our communities. And if we are getting our relationships wrong at the family level, then that's going to overflow into, you know, the neighborhood level, the community level, even on the national level. And as you're saying, even between nations. You know, I remember us talking previously where we were making the point that even when we look at countries' national budgets, there's so much of the budget that is geared towards crime, national security, you know, and these things are a product of the breakdown of relationships.
Right. So you see, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because you see, I don't think many families are aware of the fact that they are the ones who is contributing to our budget having to spend so much money in national security, because we are trying to secure ourselves now from the children we produce. Because, as you know, most of the crime in the country is being perpetrated by young people. They're joining gangs and And young men today don't know how to discipline themselves. And even grown men, there's a lot of incest and child abuse and all kind of stuff. And these are the product of men who maybe came out of families and were never cultured, were never disciplined, were never taught proper values, don't have a sense of purpose. And I think a major thing is a very poor sense of value for the worth of human life.
Yes.
And these are the things that are produced out of our family relationships, so the way we grow up, the community we grew up in, and the things that we were exposed to. So today, as you said, we are paying a price, and whether we want to admit it or not, to a large extent, it stems from the family unit and how, in what way that has affected us, and how the community we grew up in would have influenced our values and so on.
And so I guess this is one of the main drives behind your passion for the School of Relationships as far as getting our families right.
That's right, because I believe, I wouldn't say that fixing the families is 100% of the solution, but I would say maybe about 90. It's a very high percentage. So I believe if we could correct family ills, and we could really pass on to families a better sense of value, a better sense of understanding their responsibility, and how what they do is going to affect the society at some point in time. I think we will solve a lot of problems if you could get the family to function properly and to achieve the goal, and I would say the goal that God would have set, because he's the one who engineered the family, and he would have had clear goals in his mind when he would have done that. And of course, if we could achieve the goal he had in mind, it will surely contribute positively to creating a better society with justice and peace and less violence and these kinds of things that we are dealing with today.
Wow, Pastor Dougie, I agree with you 100%, 100%, because while getting the family right, getting the family in line with God's goal, it is not 100% of the answer, but it's a real foundational part of the answer. Trying to deal with all of these things is like trying to pick all of the fruit off a tree and thinking that all of your fruit problems are done, that the tree is never going to bear fruit again. What we need to do is to get to the foundation of the issue, and getting the families right is at the heart. It's a real foundational block to restoring what we see in our families today, and I think that provides us with a lot of hope for where our families can be headed if we get our families right as far as getting in line with the plan of God.
Yes, just before we wrap up this session, I would like to add to that is that I think one of the major challenges is the first challenge of getting the family to understand that they are the shapers of society. They are the ones who are molding society. They are the ones, based on how they would grow up their children and how they would conduct their relationships, are actually determining what kind of society we'll be living in. So what we are living in today is what the family produced.
Yes.
So the first job is to persuade the family that they're having that kind of impact on the society.
Wow. Well, it's a big job, and we are thankful that we have, I would say, interventions like the School of Relationships. These kinds of things that allow us to really get in and speak to people, speak to families directly, and get us on track, get us on board with the plan of God, the will of God, the purposes of God for the family. So I would love to sort of pick it up here again. We're going to be talking again sometime very soon, and we're going to pick it up, and I want us to get into that whole discussion of God's plan for the family. When God thinks of family, what that looks like, and see how that lines up with what we're doing in society today and what we could sort of do to move towards God's plan for the family. So, Pastor Dougie, thank you so much. Thank you for your insight and your sharing. And I know it comes with years of experience, years of God speaking and showing you the secrets of the kingdom of heaven in this area. So thanks again. This has been Relationships 101, a program of the School of Relationships, and we are looking forward to connecting with you again very soon.